So while I wait for people to join me this morning, I've figured it's a slow start for most people. I've said in a previous post that family-orientated Christian festivals are not my best. And I think it's because I carry the burden of family. But for those celebrating 26, happy Boxing Day. It should be, the weather's great where I am. And a bit about where I am. I'm at home, and this episode is connected to the previous one. So this is part 2. I took a walk down to the beach this morning to just get a sense of what the colours were up to in the water, bringing their tents and their pots of curry. And there was nothing there. There was nothing there in the sense that my usual spots weren't open. So yesterday it looked like there was some spots open, and today it looks like there's less spots open. So the beach is wide open. But the bit in the center of where the toilets are, that's wide open. Kauai and Starbucks and all of those guys are cooking. And there's less wind, so this is not quite a weather report, but it's going there. Not quite wind. Yeah, there's no wind. There's less wind. And this surf's up. And I can normally tell surf's up. I'm hoping that this place that I am now, you will see the movement of the people. It's Alexander Road in Muizenberg, off Atlantic Road, and if you look closely, you can see the beginnings of the Majestic would be on your right, and the Civic Center would be on your left. So this is me broadcasting from home, and just quite a few people choosing to join me today. So I'm hoping to show you that there's something happening, there's something cooking in terms of waves, because normally I get my telltale sign is if I see my neighbors moving down with their boards and their suits towards the wave action, then I know I should be doing the same thing. So I got ahead of them this morning, went for a quick walk around, but there was nothing that made me want to get wet. So I want to go back a little bit and then go forward so that we can conclude. There's quite a bit that's in my mind, but I really need to stick with it. So for those who don't know, I had an experience of God a couple of days ago, and it's the theme to today's session. There's nothing here. I can't remember if I had been swimming. Yeah, I think it must have been that I had been in the water early morning. Yeah, there we go. That makes a lot more sense. I had been in the water early morning, and the waves were dead. There was no wave action at all. Low tide, where you have to walk in quite deep to get your first dive in. And once you dive in, you realize the chances of there being. So I just don't have the patience to stick around waiting for the next possible wave. So I just dive in and come straight out again. And with that in my mind, with that in my mind, I came back home, and then I went to go down to the shops for some other reason. And in that moment that I went off to the shops, I met my neighbors at the gate at the entrance. And they had longboards and suits, and they looked very excited from an experience that I'd just come back from. So there's the context. And the overwhelming thought that I had in my head was, there's nothing there. You guys are wasting your time. And I almost verbalized it. But then a second thought, which I think is the divine thought, came to cancel out the first thought. And it almost as if I was shouted at from the heavenly space, the heavenly realm. Who the hell are you, Benson? To predetermine someone's expectations of surfing and swimming. There might be something for someone there. These guys might be novices and they like small waves. These guys might just need the time together on the board, sitting on their boards and chatting, a couple together. I don't know them. And that thought stayed with me for much of the day. And it entered into every other experience as well. And one of the experiences is that I tend to curate experiences, and I tend to show my camera on exciting places where I am and what I'm doing. And the assumption there that could be is that I'm having fun, and I'm having fun, and I'm showing you a life to live, and I'm better, and I've made it. And the second thought that comes with that is that, who are you, Benson, to predetermine that these experiences that I'm showing you now are experiences for me, and you might get something from them, you might get nothing from them. One experience that happened to me yesterday, which I also went into with, there were a few of them actually. One of the contexts as to why I'm home today, why I'm able to do this broadcast, is that my family's out. We had to do the usual Christmas with family, and my levels of anxiety just goes slightly off the chart when I'm forced to be happy and be normal and be family. So on Christmas Eve we did a family thing with my wife's family in Nurtuk, and that was fun. Fun's not quite the word to describe it. And then on the actual Christmas day, we would have rushed off, which was yesterday, we would have rushed off to my part of the family. But then there was a change, and we went for the afternoon tea rather for lunch, which means we had lunch together. And that was the first time ever that me and my crew set up lunch by ourselves. And I actually enjoyed that space. And then today, so yeah, it's a bit of a roller coaster for me. And for those who are still watching, thank you. I really do appreciate it. So beware, I hope you're well. But Lynn, it's great to see you here. Rashid Sidat, I don't actually know who you are. Stephen, always good having you. Moira, and Sean Lewis as well. And while I've got a crowd with, I can show you a bit what the waves are doing down there. So this is a bit of a webcam. One of the subtexts to what I'm doing is that I'm trying to build a brand, and the brand I'm trying to create content on YouTube, and I'm trying to get paid sponsorships, and for that I need subscribers. So hitting that button, that subscription button, would mean a heck of a lot to me. It's just the kind of space that I'm in now. So if you're listening to me, go ahead and do it with Thira, Rod, and Bernard Kotza. I wish that you guys would just tell me I'm going through a difficult time in terms of the amount of Facebook followers that I have and my memory of them. So I'm going to have to get to a point where I ask you, do we actually know each other? And do you want to stay in my friendship circle? I think I will actually compose something and send it off to everybody. You popped up on my friendship circle. I don't have any contact with you, but let's see how we go. So there's some neighbors going out to their morning swim. I hope they find something. I'm at home today because I bailed out of another family function because I just couldn't see myself enjoying it. So with a lot of grace, I asked the family yesterday if I could not join them, and that's why you're finding me here. Lydia O'Connor, it is a pleasure to have you aboard if you are listening. So I've bailed out of family and I've bailed into being by myself at home, which is very strange. I did go for a walk around looking for coffee, and the coffee that I found is right here. Coffee made in my own, in our place. Most of the cafes that I normally go to is closed, and I've got a problem with Starbucks. But we'll talk about that in another episode, coffee and food security. I'll chat later about that. So let me push through about the theme, there's nothing here. So suddenly the thought really opened my mind, stayed with me everywhere I went. And the one place that I went yesterday was church. And I tried to get out of it because it's not our regular space. The church has not been our regular space for a while. And this bunch of people, we've been to them once or twice. And I came away with a sense that there was nothing there. Just sense. I couldn't express the sense to anyone except to my journal. And when my daughter brought up the possibility of us going down to Komiki Christian Church, KCC, I tried all sorts of tricks to wriggle out of it, short of getting an Uber for her to go to church by herself. Eventually we all piled into the car at 8:30 on Christmas morning, and off we went. I was glad I went. In fact, I've reached out to the minister, Mike Lombard, and I've asked him to send me the notes of his sermon, because I think it's blog worthy, and I think it's read worthy, and I think it's for anybody that is amazed at the birth of Christ, whose lives are being affected by it. Then I think that sermon was worth the read. One thing that's been strong in my consciousness is the levels of my anxiety. And while watching TikTok one time, as I do when I can't sleep, some guy started off saying that there's one phrase in the Bible that gets repeated most, and I think it gets repeated in maybe 300 times, and without me needing I guessed right. The phrase was, "Do not be afraid," which is apparently what the angel said to Mary when they appear, when the Annunciation, as it were. I hope I've got that right. When she was told that she was with child, and the child's origins are of God. And those words spoke into my spirit so well, because my fears are becoming something, and I don't know if it's being midlife, that you suddenly become fearful of being with yourself, you become fearful of being with other people, you become fearful of people that you love, you become fearful of people that you don't know. The fear is just there all the time, and you constantly have to repeat the phrase, "Do not be afraid." and you can even add that other part, I'm with you. And it really, for me, is I came away from church very, very happy to be a Christian, very happy to have been there, very, very happy to have listened to those words. So, Rod, if you are listening, KCC, there is something there. I need to clear up one or two things, and then I'm going to, don't quite know what I'm going to do next. I might pull up a book. I'm going to shine the light on a book that I'm reading at the moment and clear up something there. So maybe we swap this around, do it like that. So I picked up this book. I must actually tell you the story. I went to a Christmas market hosted by the Anglican Church, and I saw the sign up a few times, and for those who don't know, I do quite a few of those sort of markets. So I judged that market immediately by the sign that they put there. There was tinsel on the sign. It was handmade, probably done by a child, or childlike sort of thing. And I came back from another market where I was represented, the Fab Ideas Christmas market, and then on the way back I felt a bit disappointed. There was nothing for me at the Fab one, and I was now coming back home, and suddenly, and it was rainy, I'll never forget that. I saw the Fab, the Anglican one it was two notches down, and when I walked in through the door, it was clear that I was the only customer. There were probably about 30-40 tables, and everybody was sitting desperately trying to sell their wares to me, and I was overwhelmed. I don't know how often you've been in those spaces where you actually don't make any eye contact with any of the traders because you don't want them to think that you're going to buy any of their stuff. It's sort of false pretense. But I pushed through, and it was as I walked in through the door, the thought came to me strongly, there is nothing here, but I'll just keep pushing through until I find something. And I found not only this book there, but I found the person that the book is about, Ingrid, there, and I found Penny there, who was doing a bit of marketing, and I found a few other interesting bits behind the perspective that I had of me not possibly finding anything of interest. I found something of interest. So I bought the book. Well, no, I lie. I interviewed Ingrid. She told me her life story on camera, and she was in tears often, and I haven't yet looked at the footage, but I get a sense that I might have to redo it because it was impromptu, and the problem with impromptu is that you go back and you realize afterwards that there's some stuff that you didn't ask. So, Paul, it's good to have you. I'm just trying to scroll and talk at the same time, and it's not really working. So, I said in my comments in the last episode 1 of There Is Nothing Here, was that do not read this book. And a strange thing happened. I was off Wi-Fi, I was on data, and my data ran out just in time for me to say do not read this book. Because what I wanted to say, do not read this book if you do not want to stay, if you want to stay the same. In other words, this is a difficult book to read. This book begs of you to do something, to become an activist of sorts. There's a chapter in my life, my very first job I had as a teenager was working with the PDSA, People's Dispensary for Sick Animals. and I volunteered there first, cleaning dog kennels. So my experiment with dog poop started at quite a young age. That's for another time, isn't it? So now it looks like I've got other people online, and it looks like Jonathan Johnson is one of them. If anybody wants to say hi, please say so. Or if you want to come online, say so as well. Or if you want to meet me on the beach later, then say so as well. So I spent a lot of time cleaning my own dog's poop from a young age, and then ended up volunteering with the PDSA and SPCA, and then I got a job as what they call a technical officer, and we worked as vets. We wore the vet coats, and we did all the minor surgeries. And one thing that we did lots of is euthanasia, and I worked in the townships, and very quickly I got the nickname as Dr. Death, because I could do it. My viewers invite requests. Oh, okay. So there's two people that want to. Okay, let me see if I can just do one ad. Let's see if this is going to work. I've done this before, but maybe we will. I will keep talking until something happens. So Dr. Death, that was a chapter, and I personally facilitated killing of quite a few dogs. It was long before when sterilization was still expensive. Euthanasia was easier, and I'd seen a lot of sad and sick dogs, and so when I read this book, all of those emotions came back to me, rushing back to me, that I'm a dog person, I'm an animal person, and I find it really, really difficult to read through abuse that's happening currently located in Ocean View. But that's just the surface. There's another aspect to it that I think breaks the heart of God, and that is the abuse that people dish out to themselves through drugs. And Ingrid tells the story of her daughter who's on TikTok at the moment. There's a movie about a mom who eventually killed her own child. Ellen Pakis. And I don't think she's incarcerated anymore, but the movie is hopefully made some sort of thing. There are people from outside and inside as to why mom would kill her own son. And just seeing the abuse of dogs and abuse of drugs and poverty and crime all weaved into the story. This is why you can't just read it. It's not just a book about Ocean View. This book demands a response. I don't know what your response is, but I'm going to keep shining the light. This is why I need your subscription. I'm going to keep shining the light of God on people that I am connected to, or not even connected to, who I think are doing excellent work in the townships. And there are some people that we know of in Ocean View, the Ricardo Herodines, the Earl Mentors, the Theaters, the Jimmy Jameses, the Ocean View guys, the Ocean View farm guys, Nikki, and despite their circumstances, they change themselves so that they can change the community around them. So that's what I want to do for next year. I want to go deeper, to interview more. And Ingrid, you in that list of fame, people that are making significant political effect in terms of changing your community. So that's what that's the book. Let's see what's happening here. So I'm going to just hit this once. I've come to the end of my time with you this morning. I'm just going to my journal to see if I've missed anything. And then I'm going to wish you well.